toss it out because Let It Be had just been around for 50 years. It was like the 50th anniversary of the song, so that's why. Yeah, that's what it is. So, 4, that's what it's for. But with all that said, let's kind of just get into reading this thing. We might not get through the whole thing, but we can just flip through. I think I'm gonna try and do this like reading a children's book where you like show it. This is the front page. But the first page is like a rundown of their albums in order. So we have Please Please Me with the Beatles, Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, Help, Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's Magical Mystery Tour, The White Album, or The Beatles, Yellow Submarine, Abbey Road, and then of course, Let It Be, Let It Be, Let It Be. It says, over here it says, March 22nd, 1963 saw the first Beatles LP in the UK. Over 7 years they recorded a dozen others, with some 200 songs, 185 of them original. Today, 50 years after breaking up, the Beatles remain the world's best-selling band. This is a cool picture. It's a cool picture. Through all the madness of Beatlemania, to the private moments of inspiration, the most celebrated pop group of all time brought joy to the worlds they conquered. It says yesterday, and this is like a photo gallery section. Then this whole section, it has some writing and stuff. I don't know how much of that I want to read, but I can read a little bit. So it's on this page right here. It says, I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello. As the 4 Beatles greeted their futures as solo artists, fans mourned when in April 1970 news of their split became public. It felt as if an era had ended, but in fact the band's lifespan was shockingly brief. Just 10 years had passed since John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and their pre-Ringo Starr bandmates Stu Sutcliffe and Pete Best performed as the Beatles for the first time at Hamburg's Inter Club in the summer of 1960. And it was a mere 4 years since the hysteria known as Beatlemania cooled to a simmer after the Fab Four quit touring and sequestered themselves to create a series of studio albums that revolutionized pop music. Today, a half-century into their afterlife, the Beatles' popularity exists less in screaming fans than in streaming fans. Within days of going on sale last year, a remastered version of 1969's Abbey Road scored 1.7 billion Spotify streams, nearly half of them by people born after the band's demise. In the following pages, people revisits the Beatles from their exhilarating rise to their last hours in words and pictures. We hope you will enjoy the show. So I guess that was kind of worth reading. But yes, this is the Beatles, the Beatles, the Beatles, and George Martin, right? That's George Martin. Yeah. I know that's George Martin, but I just needed to check. Lots of picture pages. This is the Beatles wearing policeman hats. So Ringo, John, Paul, and George. And it says, besieged by roiling mobs at every shop when they toured the UK. In the fall of '63, the lads saluted Birmingham police, who smuggled them to a gig in the back of their van. My favorite picture of all time. The swimming pool picture is like my favorite. I think it's hilarious. It says the Beatles took a dip in an unheated Miami pool for life in February '64. All four photographer John Leonard once recalled started turning blue. Leonard, who helped found People in 1974, ourselves when we played as the crowd was so loud. And up here in the corner it has a little bit, it says, the August 15th, 1965 Shea Stadium crowd was the largest to date for a rock show. Among the 56,000 fans were future Beatles brides Linda Eastman and Barbara Bach. Ooh, a colored picture. Pictures in color. Pictures in color. But that was for Help. So it says down here, it says, Help. Signs of created malaise were visible on the set of the 1965 film Help. The band came back stronger that year with the Rubber Soul LP, the first of their towering mid-career achievements. Then it says Revolver below that. This little section is Revolver. It says, when Paul said that the Beatles' new album contained sounds nobody else had ever done, the sonic revolutions of Revolver recorded in 1966 proved him right. Then Rock Star Trek. Let fans debate Stones versus the Beatles. Longtime pal Mick Jagger joined Paul and the others in 1967 to meet Guru Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in Bangor, Wales. While there, they learned that their manager Brian Epstein had died at 32. But that is them with Mick Jagger, and then Marianne Faithfull just chilling back there. Oh, you can't see Ringo, he's kind of stuck in the fold, but I love this picture. This set of, there's a set of pictures that they took that day, and it's one of my favorite sets of pictures from the Beatles. John and Yoko. John and Yoko. We have rooftop concerts pictures here, and of course, if you've seen the Beatles Get Back documentary, you know all about this. Meet the Beatles is this next section. And it says down here, born in a port city, battered by German bombs, raised in a Britain smuggling back to its feet, 4 working-class boys heard the siren call of American rock and roll and put Liverpool on the musical map. Ooh. I won't read this whole thing, but I think these kind of sections just tell of their origin stories. The pictures of them when they were much younger. But yeah, that whole section was just little bios about their early careers. This next section is called Come Together. It says, money was tight, school was boring, Elvis was God. How some like-minded Liverpool teens became the Beatles. Maybe best. Oh, yep, that would be best. I was like, that must be best. But yeah, so over here it talks about the OG members. Over here, so we have Pete Best, Stu Sutcliffe, Neil Aspinall, and Jimmy Nichols. So they're all down here. This is really funny. Let me read this. Pete forever, Ringo never. So cried fans at the Cavern when the Beatles' new drummer replaced the devastatingly handsome Pete Keeper the band had enlisted on the eve of their first trip to Hamburg. Born in India shortly before his biological father died during the war, Pete abandoned aspirations to become a school teacher when the Beatles, with whom he used to sit in his mother's club, the Casbah, invited him to become the 5th Beatle. He was a very good-looking guy, remembered Paul, and out of all the people in our group, the girls used to go for Pete, but he was also taciturn and aloof from his bandmates. When George Martin said that his hammering style wasn't fit to record, Pete was sacked by Brian Epstein in August 1962. I went over the road and put back 5 whiskeys, said Pete, and then I went home and cried. Wow. I love it. And of course, Stu Sutcliffe is quite a popular one. I think a lot of in Hamburg, playing more than 270 nights in rowdy German nightclubs. The Fab Five, from left to right, Pete, George, John, Paul, and Stu. It's right over there. And it says, arrived mediocre, but said up here turned into a stomping good band. Pictures. Look at how silly they look. There's Astrid Kitcher. I think you say her name Kircher. I'm sorry. P.S. We love you. Home from Hamburg, the Beatles found magic in a Liverpool cavern. Fans became fanatics, and soon the phenomenon had a name: Beatlemania. More pictures. Brian Epstein. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend that is Brian Epstein. Look at how silly Paul looks. It says, producer George reminded, this is it right here. Producer George Martin reminded Brian Epstein of a stern but fair-minded school teacher. Martin, at EMI Studios on Abbey Road in 1963, said the Beatles carried on as schoolboys do, and one of them has been cheeky to a teacher. Beatlemania. I can guarantee if I lived in the 60s, I would have been one of these people. I love this photo as well. I'm a big fan of this photo. But it says, on American shores. When the lads hop the pond, record crowds jam the airport, and their first U.S. television appearance draws a stunning 73 million viewers. I actually have episodes of the Ed Sullivan Show taped on my TV because they did like reruns of them or whatever. And I have a Beatles one saved. But here's more Beatlemania. People breaking down those police barriers. And then them on TV on the Ed Sullivan Show with Ed Sullivan. And it says, this little section is called All They're Loving. And it says, they're wild, they're all wild. John said of the band's more enthusiastic fans. CBS had 50,000 requests for 728 seats in the audience for their first U.S. TV appearance. Relaxed as they appeared in rehearsal, the lads found it nerve-wracking, said Paul, when told during the broadcast that 73 million viewers were tuned in. Crazy to think that many people were like watching TV at that same time. More beach photos. Ringo getting kissed by some fans. Ooh, my gosh. Love this. That's a great picture. I don't remember seeing that. Look at their pins. They say, I love Beatles. But it's Beatles in quotes, and it's spelled B-E-E-T-L-E-S. So this little section down here is called Love Me Do. And it says, being cheeky chappy saved our arses, Ringo said of the Beatles' ability to charm initially hostile American reporters. The press had come to bury us. These reporters would yell at us, but we just yelled back. Reporters as well as fans, even one in New York who sported a misspelled Beatles button, preferred us being the way we are, said John. If we're tired, we look tired. If we're happy, we're happy. We don't get on. If we're feeling a bit off that day, we say, I'm sorry, I won't be quick-witted. Ooh. This section is titled At the Movies, and there's their like big sign for A Hard Day's Night. And it says below, with A Hard Day's Night, Help and Yellow Submarine swear off touring and retreat to the studio, where they are reborn. Ooh. Patty and George getting married. Right, this is their marriage picture. I knew it was, okay. And then, oh, yep. These are some riots, about the Beatles. Because of, this is all because of the, greater than Jesus comment that, John Lennon had made. It says, Lennon's Jesus comment set off record burnings and protests. There was that edge in America, said Starr. They did have guns. Whoop, 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 whoop. It says, this is another comment about it. It says, some subjects must not be dealt with profanely, even, oh my gosh, some subjects must not be dealt with profanely, even in the world of beatniks. Vatican's statement in response to John Lennon's perceived blasphemy. I did not know the Vatican made a statement. Sgt. Pepper's. I'm not that into psychedelic music, so I'm kind of biased, but I don't know if I can say this on the internet and not get blasted, but I don't like Sgt. Pepper's. I know I'm a Beatles fan and I don't like Sgt. Pepper's, but you know. It says, on their 8th album, the Beatles invent sounds, push boundaries, and challenge fans. But you stand up and walk out on me. Okay, I know I said that I don't like Sgt. Pepper's, but I fully understand its music and historical significance. Just throwing that out there so I don't get blasted, but I do truly believe that it has incredible influence on music. It's just not my kind of music. But it says up here, they're always coming up with something new. They've just learned something I wouldn't dream of. They never cease to amaze me. Thanks, George Martin. This is the orchestra. Playing. It says, critics love to compare Sgt. Pepper's to work of earlier long-haired musicians, from Bach to Schubert to Schumann, but the Beatles bent the new Philharmonia Orchestra to their own purposes. They were to create, John instructed, a sound like the end of the world. You can say that again. I'm not crapping on it, I swear. How the Beatles write a song. Let me see if this goes on to the next page. If it doesn't, then I'll read it. Yep, okay, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read this section, but then we'll look at these lyrics written out. It says, we're always being asked how we write our songs, Paul told a reporter back in 1964. There are two things we always do when we're going to sit down and write a song. First of all, we sit down, then we think about a song. Inspiration could strike almost anywhere. Lennon and McCartney wrote Love Me Too, and I saw her standing there as teenagers in the McCartney family living room, or sitting room. She Loves You started life as the band was traveling in a van, and someone said, don't worry, 'cause she loves you. Eleanor Rigby took a little longer. I was sitting at the piano when I thought of it, Paul told Time in 1967. The first few bars just came to me, and I got this name in my head. Daisy Hawkins picks up the rice in the church where a wedding has been. I don't know why. I really couldn't think of much more, so I put it away for a bit. Then the name Father McCartney came to me, and all the lonely people. But I thought people would think it was supposed to be my dad sitting knitting his socks. Dad's a happy lad, so I went through the telephone book, and I got the name Mackenzie. I was in Bristol when I decided Daisy Hawkins wasn't a good name. I walked around looking at ships and saw the name Rigby. Then I took a look down to John's house in Weybridge. When we sat around laughing, got stoned, and finished it off. All our songs come out of our imagination. One of us might think of a song completely, the other just add a bit, or we might write alternative lines. We never argue. If one of us says he doesn't like a bit, the other agrees. I love that. And then these are the words to A Day in the Life. If there's like 2 songs on Sgt. Pepper's that I love, and that's With a Little Help from My Friends, and I like A Day in the Life, except the crazy bit in the middle, but you know. So yeah, I read the news today, oh boy, about a lucky man who made the grade, and the Yoko. They got married too, so this is their marriage part. It says, after their March 20th wedding on Gibraltar, Lennon and Yoko Ono staged multiple bed-ins to protest the Vietnam War. Here in May at Queen Elizabeth Hotel in Montreal, where comedian Tommy Smothers, Timothy Leary, and others joined in a recording of Give Peace a Chance. Inset, a 1968 photo of the couple at a UK hospital became an album cover for their unfinished music number 2, Life with the Lions. And that's that photo. But yeah, Give Peace a Chance, guys. I love that song. Oh, we are saying. Okay. And then here's George. This is around the time that George got really into meditation. And yeah, so in summer 1967, Harrison produced the single The Hare Krishna Mantra, which he performed with members of London's Radha Krishna Temple. It became a hit, and the group appeared on BBC's Top of the Pops 4 times. It's really the same sort of thing as meditation, he said. Then this is Linda pregnant, and then this is Ringo on the set of The Magic Christian with Peter Sellers. I've never seen that movie, but I definitely want to, because not only do I love Ringo, I love Peter Sellers. I love him so much. So here's Paul walking down the street. This is talking about Paul being dead, because of the it's big hoax. Okay, this bottom part, let's read about, because I don't know what this is. So, back to you, Your Majesty. When the band were made members of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire in 1965, John Lennon sent his insignia to his Aunt Mimi, who put it on the mantle. I'm glad I did, he said, because it meant that 4 years later I was able to use it to make a gesture. In November 1969, he sent it back with the letter below to the Queen. Let's see what he says. I don't know what that says. Her Majesty. Well, it says Her Majesty the Queen. Oh, then it says Your Majesty. It says, I'm returning this MBE in protest against British involvement in the Nigeria Biafra thing, against our support of America and Vietnam, and against cold turkey slipping down the charts. With love, John Lennon. Wow. Really was doing the work for everybody to protest the last days. So, at one time or another, all 4 Beatles separately quit the band, if only briefly, but John Lennon's 1969 call for a divorce was the real beginning of the end. Paul McCartney took this split public in 1970 with a statement and a solo album. And then, so here it is. Paul was the first to make a formal statement about quitting the band. It says down here, the Beatles have left the Beatles, but no one wants to be one to say the party's over. I said, is it about the time we told people? So they had been broken up for a while, I would assume is what that's saying. But it says,